From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between. This is the 50/50 podcast, powered by National Scouting Report. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go. It's another edition of the 50/50 podcast, powered by our proud partners, National Scouting Report. You can find more information on what they're about, all right, on social media, on Twitter at NSR Now, that's NSRNOW, as well as on Instagram at NSR_NOW, as well as on their website at NSR-INC.com. Again, that is National Scouting Report. They are the world's leading authority on athletic recruiting. All right, episode 82, getting ready to get started, and it's an all podcast team, 50/50 pod team affair today. So we have our returning champion, right, and Rafa, Coach Rafa, joining us. Coach, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Good to have you. Good to have you in. And then our newest member of the podcast team, right, our college recruiting insider, making his debut, appearance here on the podcast.
Oh no, I was on.
With
as
a team member, though. As a team member.
Oh, okay.
Debut as a team member. So, Mr. Frank Corte III, our college recruiting insider. Frank, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, living the dream.
I almost said Frank Corte Jr. the third, right? Just
don't.
My little nickname for you. Yeah. Awesome. So, well. Guys, it's great to be back. It's been like it's 3 weeks exactly to the day since our last episode, and it's great. Excuse me, it's great to be back. Excited. What's been new? What's been going on in over the last couple of weeks? We'll start with Rafa before we get to Frank, because I know Frank's going to have a good little intro. So Rafa, what's new, buddy?
Well, I finally made some investment, like the earphones like you have, so I have the same time like you.
Oh,
it's been great. So it sounds great. So use them for the fan cast and also for the other show.
What kind did you get?
Lately,
did you get some pretty good ones?
Oh, the same brand as you, the ones you got.
Oh, did you? Okay, the audio. Really?
So,
nice. Yeah, they're pretty sweet. They're pretty sweet. Awesome.
So they feel nice and great. So I can hear a lot better than the other ones I had.
Over the ear. Remember, that's the trick. Over the ear, not
over the ear.
On the ear. Over the ear. Right.
and just lately been just working with I guess the guys there in the fan cast who did a show last night to go over San Diego and Sacramento game and a couple other things to discuss. And then shout out to Harry. Thinking about him, he lost his cat the other day, and also to one of the players in San Marcos. From the Corpus Christi. So we shout out, to condolences to his family. But we've just been busy working with, with the fan cast, with Roy, some of the rest of the guys, and just looking forward to see if we can finally get on the win column here on Saturday against Birmingham.
Yeah, they're back into, is it the Legion, right? Is it Legion? Mm-hmm. Birmingham Legion, I think they are. Yeah. Yeah, it should be a good one. I think fireworks show, if I'm not mistaken, right after the match. Yeah. So awesome. And Frank, how about you, buddy? We're gonna get into a lot of what you've been working on later in the show, but what else is going on?
Yeah, I'm trying not to do it all right now. Just talking to people, doing a lot of interviews, calling people, explaining my previous body of work, working on the 50/50 newsletter, talking to you for 40 minutes every day.
Every other day.
sending you a test every day. Just working on the newsletter, trying to refine exactly what we're trying to say, trying to make sure that I'm speaking with the voice of the pod, trying to get your input on everything. Other than that, just, hanging out at home, watching all the draft content.
Yeah.
Free agent content tomorrow.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's been interesting. I know this time of year too for soccer, right? For soccer fans, the summer months, I mean, it affects MLS to a certain extent, but it's not the same. But on the world, right, the world football stage, it is,
Mhm.
it's the transfer window. This is the big transfer window, right? So it's
Yeah.
always high drama. I know Rafa and I have been thinking the Mbappe deal to Real was going to happen over a week ago. Still nothing. So yeah. So
I think
interesting.
the ultimatum's tomorrow. I think.
I saw that. Yeah. Sign for 2 years and then with the option of leaving after 2024, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. So, all right. Well, Frank,
Mm.
you're joining us. So thank you for being here. Um, we're happy to have you part of the team as our college recruiting insider. And full disclosure as well, Frank's going to get into it a little bit more in terms of his background, but Frank and I established a great working relationship, great rapport, and I got to see him in action in our time working together with College Promoters USA as well. So brings an abundance of experience that he's going to get into in a little bit. But Frank, welcome. Tell us, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell not us, but tell everyone at large a little bit about
Mhm.
yourself, a little bit of background, and how you got here and what you're trying to do.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm pumped to be a part of the team. Whenever I think I called you to use you as a reference, and you sent out the invite, and I was just pumped. I'm super excited to still be working in the helping high school athlete space, and just trying to bring quality content to them. Uh, a little bit about myself. I'm from San Antonio, born and raised here. Graduated from Texas A&M in 2019. Um, I got a degree in sports management. When I got my job at College Promoters USA, my main focus was running the email campaign system and making sure that all the athletes were being sent out for, anytime they got new film, anytime they got a club event, or anytime maybe if they made it to like the regionals where a coach might be or something like that. Just making sure that all their marketing was up and running and we were being consistent in our efforts. I also ran the socials with Greg.
There we go. I was going to say, don't sell it short either as a email campaign, because I mean those are major marketing campaigns going out for what, over 300 athletes at any given time over the course of
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
throughout the
I
year.
did a lot of email campaigns.
Yeah. So those, and we'll get into that a little bit more later, but yeah, those, I got to see that in action quite a bit, and yeah, that's a heavy load. That's a heavy load for sure.
Mhm.
So you did amazing work there. We're excited to have you here. One of the things you hit on it briefly, but one of the things that we're excited to have you on, and we started talking about that you're working on, is our newsletter. Newsletter's getting ready to launch, hopefully within about inside of the
Few
next 24
days.
hours, right? 24 to
Yeah,
48 hours max.
yeah.
And so tell us, it's our first edition, getting ready to come out. Tell us a little bit about the thought process behind just the newsletter itself, the genesis for it, this specific one that's getting ready to come out, and then what can we kind of expect in the future as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. On the recruiting 101, the film focus, the whole idea is just highlighting the types of plays that college coaches are looking for whenever they're getting email from an athlete about like the defender needs to have breaking up the one-on-one plays. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So pretty much we just want to put all that info out into the world, and hopefully some athletes can utilize it in their creation of highlight reel process.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's what we're getting ready to tackle here with the first edition. But tell us, for our listeners here, for our supporters, tell them a little bit more in terms of the genesis of the newsletter itself, the thought process behind it, the greater, and what to expect in the future.
Okay. Well, I had this idea at College Promoters USA that we could repurpose all the data that we have, the email data that we have, into a newsletter, maybe like a monthly one broken out by sport, giving advice to, maybe even potential people that weren't our clients,
Mhm.
trying to get them back into our business by giving out free advice. So this is like that, but only about soccer. and for free.
Yeah. It's only about soccer is enough. That's we can focus on that, right? So, Rafa, any thoughts on that? Any questions you have for Frank in terms of just the specific topic of the first edition, or just the newsletter in general?
Yeah, what do you look for as far as the newsletter? What gets you excited about doing this?
I think my favorite thing has just been like designing it and working with Hector. Really, it's good because I'll like have an idea and then I'll like pitch it to Hector, and then we'll like share Canva docs, and then he'll like improve my idea times like 100, and I'm like, oh man, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
Really, I think the most exciting part is just helping people. That was always the most rewarding part of the process for me working at College Promoters USA. We'd have these people that we worked with for, sometimes they'd enroll as like a sophomore with like limited film, and then they become juniors and they get a bunch of film, and then we market their film several times and look for unique opportunities to get it out in front of coaches. And then, one day they commit and like their whole process is over, and until now they have the portal. But
right. Yeah.
That's another conversation.
No.
But definitely, I think just around February or whenever we see the signing dates, very rewarding time of the year. So I just look forward to helping more athletes and hopefully expanding their knowledge of soccer.
Now, in the future, tell us just some thoughts, some ideas in terms of what can maybe listeners, and what the ultimate goal is. We want people to, supporters, subscribe, listeners of the podcast. We want them to go and subscribe for this, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're a student athlete, a parent, a coach, high school coach, club coach, even the college coaches, right? But what can we kind of expect, since you're driving that engine with the newsletter?
Mm-hmm.
What are you kind of thinking? Let us peek behind the curtain a little bit. What can we expect regarding the newsletter in the future?
With your podcast, you cover so much ground. You have the Texas high school soccer. You have your own pod where you have the coaches on, and it's like the recruiting service type tip. So really, the first one's going to be film. We can circle back on the film and do like how-tos for Huddle, how to capitalize your in-season film. We can do like how-tos for VO, how to capitalize your club season film. I think the one that we were talking about yesterday was a really good idea, the sort of ebook for how to make your Twitter profile a recruiting profile.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, also maybe like some case studies of kids recruitment to like let athletes know that other people have done it before, and that every route is a different route and everyone's process is different. And there's a lot of different ways to get recruited.
Right. And over the course of many of these editions, right, these are a lot of things that people generally, they kind of talk to each other, or they go to certain other people's kind of profiles and they just kind of wing it, right? They kind of just, hey, maybe I can add this because this person has this on their profile, or maybe I can add this, but there doesn't really seem to be a primary source that's targeting soccer specific, right? That's targeting, hey, this is a kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, right? And it'll be sprinkled over multiple editions of, whether it's film, whether it's a profile, whether it's just the tidbits of marketing yourself in between film, right? When you upload film, whether every 3 to 6 months, as we've talked about. So how to be able, a place where they can go, a place where a tutorial, maybe for even parents, right? Maybe they're a little nervous. They're young kid finally gets up on social media, right? As maybe an incoming freshman, or we're seeing it now, even 8th graders, 7th graders.
Yeah.
Where do
they begin? 28 the other day.
Yeah. I saw class of 2028 2 years ago. So that should tell you something. But that's what we're kind of thinking, right? That's the part of the genesis again of the newsletter, and we'll talk a little bit more in terms of how that ties into the website a little later. But anything, Rafa, you got anything else you want to add to that?
Just gonna say that I'm excited about some of the previews I've seen on it. I think it's gonna be a big benefit, for the players, and to see kind of like a guide what to expect and what they need to do. In the future, you're gonna include maybe things like kind of like where I'm involved with, like in my job, like how to apply to schools, like what schools are looking for academic wise and stuff like that. Is that going to be implemented later on?
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. We pitched we have this thing that we're going to show you later. It's like a timeline of the athlete's year. And just yesterday, I was texting Hector, and I was like, I think we could incorporate application dates, SAT dates, standardized test score dates, like June 15th dates, like August 1. I think the visit date, I'm not sure. August 1, I think the visit date. So we'll definitely be able to do all sorts of stuff like that in the future. Another great one is the 50/50 pod camp list or questionnaire list. I've essentially just went through all of Hector's podcasts and put all of them on one like Excel sheet. And I've been working to fill out like all the recruiting questionnaire links for each program that has been on the podcast. So sort of just like connecting the dots in between the podcast and like the stuff in the recruiting world is like what I'm seeking to do.
Frank, I like how you say that, like you knocked it out in 5 minutes. I mean, that is that's a serious task, man, because, between this and Inside Texas High School Soccer, I mean, we're well over, I think we're creeping up on probably 120 episodes. So that's a lot. That's a lot to go over. I mean, of course, there wasn't a college coach on every single one, but yeah, that's still quite a bit. So he's a bit of a machine, and
there's like over 40 programs.
What's that?
I think there's like 30 or 40 cells on that thing.
Yeah, it's a good bit. That's why I was just like, man, like, yeah. So thank you to Frank for that. These are just some of the things that you can expect coming out of some of the content for the newsletter. So now, direct them. Where can they go for that, Frank?
You want to go to Hector's Twitter and check out the link that is pinned. It's the Google form. Subscribe. There should be a button to press for everyone that can subscribe. I think it's like fan of the process, parent of men's high school soccer player, men's high school soccer player, women's high school soccer player, Texas high school soccer coach. So just be sure that you put in your correct email address. That's the most important one. And I'll tweet it as well after the podcast.
Yeah, and for parents, we really welcome parents as well to sign up for it. But please, the only favor we ask is don't misrepresent and put yourself down as your child, right? Because this is how we know how to better share our content as well, as far as if you're an actual student athlete versus if you're the parent. So something to keep in mind. So, all right. And then the other thing too, one of the things, Frank, I wanted you to speak a little bit more about. We had over the course of this past week, we kind of sprinkled out our recruiting 101 film focused little tidbits, right? Little teasers. And the link for the newsletter sign up registration was on there as well. But tell us our listeners a little bit about the thought process behind the film focus graphics there that we shared.
A lot of the concepts that the newsletter is going to use are just like reworked or maybe even refined concepts that I had at College Promoters USA. So I was always showing stuff to different athletes, on the ebook. Like I'm curbing that example from Leandro Farrar Johnson, 2025, coming into our office and being like, what should I put on my Twitter bio? And then for the film focus, I kind of curbed that from all these football players asking me what they should save on their film. And then I just took that concept and put it over to soccer. And we had a coach there that day, and he sat me down, and we did it position by position. And then I showed it to you, and you added even more in-depth content. And I think that came out pretty well. So pretty much
what it started, a great idea, obviously, to start, but what it looked like initially and through multiple drafts and what it ultimately ended up looking like in the end was night and day. So yeah.
So it was like a piece of paper that said GK FW CM.
Yeah, no, it was rough. It was great info, but it was rough. But that's why they call it a rough draft. So yeah, great stuff. So as we start to transition here, so let us tell you about our good friends at Gipper. So Gipper is the way schools, athletic departments, ADs, and coaches create world-class marketing content. Join over 2,500 coaches, ADs, and other administrators that use Gipper to create high-quality visual branded graphics for your program. The best part, anyone can do it in seconds on any device without needing any design experience whatsoever. If you do have extensive experience on the the social media marketing front, digital social media marketing front, and graphics, you're a graphics person, this is designed for you as well as what they call the power user. So you can definitely use this. You can just expand the capabilities of their features and the resources that they offer. It's pretty awesome. So just for being a listener of the 50/50 podcast, you can receive 10% off any first time Gipper purchase. Simply visit gipper.com/partner/5050 to learn more. Again, that's gipper.com/partner/5050. So, all right, good stuff. So the next thing we kind of wanted to hit on, Frank, the college. I know we were going to talk about the. We'll get to the timeline in a second. I know we have a visual for that, but college soccer recruiting, right? Just in general, very broad, obviously, but thoughts in terms of the current landscape, in terms of some of the things that obviously beyond what we've discussed, but what you're kind of connecting the dots, what's happening, what you're noticing. What are your initial thoughts? Anything that you can share?
Yeah, I think even with like the portal and the international players on the men's side, all those like barriers that American high school soccer players have to get to the next level, I still think developing and nurturing a relationship with the college coach is like the best way to do it. Even if like obviously social it plays a huge aspect now, but you got to get on their campus, you got to compete in front of them, maybe even add an ID camp. Preferably at an ID camp, and you just got to make a connection and grow a relationship.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to change no matter how much the landscape changes, So that was always my thought about it. And you got to be proactive. I know you had Greg on last episode. He was always about kids being proactive. He's right.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had this with one of our young student athletes that I mentioned to you from the College Promoter USA days that is now with NSR. We had that conversation earlier this week, right? He said, it's like, should I go to a specific, a specific camp for a school whose campus it's at that school's campus. I want to see it. I'm interested, but I've also been building a relationship there already with those coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And should I go there? And it's really only going to be, I'm really only going because of that school, even though there are a few other schools there. Or should I go to this other particular camp? Obviously, we're not going to get into names of camps, but should I go to this other camp that's going to be a big one, right? And at the end of July, and that's kind of hitting a lot of schools that I'm maybe possibly interested in. And so, we looked at it, we talked about all the pros and the cons of each one, but thanks to those relationships that he's already been building with a one particular school, he's kind of elected, he's going to try to go there at a later date. Right. Mm-hmm. And he's going to go to the camp right now. I think that where there's a lot more schools. So yeah, can't stress that enough in terms of not being timid, not being shy, and being your job as a student athlete should be try to over communicate right with a coach, because when a coach is hearing from 100 to 200 recruits, every week to 2 weeks, it's not everything you put out there that you share, whether it's on social media or through email, is always going to get read by sometimes anyone on the coaching staff or the entire coaching staff, right? So you got to be able to really just be consistent, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And I know that kind of hits at the core of what we're talking about in the first newsletter as well. So Rafa, any thoughts, anything on the college soccer recruiting front?
Like you mentioned about the ID camps, like what advice, Frank, do you have for as far as maybe, players that maybe don't have the community, of maybe playing for a club team, like maybe playing just straight high school and so forth? What advice do you get them to try to get noticed by a lot of those programs from the different universities?
If you don't have like club season film, that's fine. Like club season film is just a bonus and gives you like 1 to 2 extra marketing opportunities, but you could also just break up your 4-minute high school film into 2-minute things, I would say really just try to get to them directly, go to their athletic staff directories or their coach's page on their sport drop down, and just try to make sure that you have the correct contact info. Maybe ask your mom or dad to organize it if they know how to do Excel stuff. Other than that, just make sure that you have the data in an organized fashion, and the last time that you tried to make a contact to them. And if you do spend like whatever money you have to go to an ID camp or a big camp, like Hector just mentioned, it's not like one camp is good and another one is bad. Maybe the big camp offers you an opportunity to email more coaches and get exposure in that way, but going to one where you've had a few emails back and forth makes it like a stronger connection, and they're more likely to watch you in depth at the camp.
Good. Awesome. Anything else, Rafa?
Like I said, so I get a lot of that from the kids when I do college fairs and do my recruit visits. How like, well, I don't play club, but what's the other route? So it's some good information I can pass along to like if I meet players like that, though, and also I'm sure there's sport players watching that maybe don't have the luxury to play club, but still good players, maybe opportunities to play at certain schools and so forth, and I guess that they can be proactive and move forward and get into those ID camps to be looked at as well.
If you don't play club, ID camps are the move. I think it was maybe 3 pods ago. I'm not sure how many pods ago it was, but Eric Bell, he talked about like the economic factor of like going to a club event and seeing them all in one place. But they host ID camps for this specific reason, for people who don't play club.
Right. Yeah, it's either a matter of they come to you or you got to go to them on some level, right? But that general progression, which we'll continue to talk to, more later, is the understanding of that. Usually, it starts with film. Film kind of helps you get noticed on some level, depending upon sometimes what club you're playing for, what coach you're playing for. Is it a coach that has a rapport and a relationship there with college coaches as well? But your film's going to get you noticed, but inevitably they're gonna like what they see on film, and then they're gonna want to see. Maybe they see you at a showcase event, a tournament, and then at some point they're gonna want to see you in a more intimate setting, right? Preferably at their ID camp, right? So, and anytime they can get you on their campus too, that's a big bonus for them, right?
Definitely, you should be going to the campus if you want to go there.
Right, exactly. So. Well said. A big shout out to our friend Harry, Mr. Harry Austin. Great to hear from you, buddy. Hope all is well. We know you're still mourning the loss of your buddy, but we're thinking of you and hope all is well. So great to hear from you. So all right. So next thing we're gonna go ahead and take a look at here. So, and Frank, I'll let you speak to this guy here. So our film timeline. Okay. So, and this will be a little bit some of the content that you can expect in the newsletter, right? So, the thought process behind this, I'm going to let Frank get into that. And then Frank, you just tell me how to navigate this, but talk to us a little bit about this, the genesis, the thought process behind this and what it represents.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the points that we really wanted to hammer in this first inaugural newsletter was that film is a rinse and repeat process. It's important, but it's also strictly a tool to build a relationship with a college coach or start a conversation with a college coach so you can build a relationship. So as you scroll through this timeline, you'll see it's marked by certain dates of the soccer athlete's year. So like club starts in August, and at the end of club season, right before your high school season's about to start, you should do a fall film check-in utilizing your best fall club film if you play club. It's a good idea to market the film before the high school season starts so you don't get overwhelmed when it's just time to go out there and play. Then scroll some more. And like after the high school season starts in November or December, depending on your TAPS or UIL distinction, it would be a good tool to do like a winter film check-in around mid-February. Just utilizing your best high school film, and maybe if you have any club stuff left over that you didn't use, that's good. You can utilize it there too. It's good to have it ready so it can be ready to distribute ahead of any club events, because I know clubs, they shift to a more condensed showcase type thing during the high school season. And then when that ends and the next club season starts and it's league play, The next time you should be reaching out and publishing and posting your own film is around June after the club season is over. That way you can have it ready before ID camp season.
Rafa, any thoughts on this? Questions? Anything?
Yeah, Frank, for this on the timeline, this is when a student at what grade should the students be doing this?
It's all a suggestion. I think the more reps you get doing film, the better. So like if you're doing it as a freshman and you have a bunch of film, that's good. But I would say you should start marketing yourself by at least the time you're a junior, so they can be ready for when you become ready to talk to coaches on whatever the June 15th date of your next year is.
And that's a great question, Rafa. I know because that's something in the evaluations, right? When we were at College Promoters USA, that very question got asked every time, right? Whether I was in there with JM, Andy, Greg, that question got asked every time by either the parent or the student athlete, right? And inevitably, the difference is sometimes most people think that, am I too late, right? Sometimes some parents will think, hey, is it too early? Is it too early because my son or daughter is a freshman? No. The reason why we think freshman is if they really have an inkling that they want to pursue this and play at the next level. Why it's not too early is because that's more time where you're establishing your name out there, marketing your name, and back to those relationships that Frank was talking about, right? That gives you more time, right? So that ID camp, let's say, because inevitably this is what's going to happen. You're going to want to go to maybe 2 ID camps and they're at the exact same time, right? And you're going to have to maybe pick one, right? So do you pick one? One may be in the spring, right? One may be in the summer, right? So what are you going to do? So building the relationships helps. Getting a feel for the coaching staff helps. But yeah, it's not too, obviously if you're in middle school, yeah, you shouldn't be messing with this stuff. But yeah, if you're in your freshman year, you're the spring of your freshman year, right before you're about to go into the summer, before your sophomore year, you should, and that, hey, this is something I really want to pursue. Not that I like the thought of wanting to play college soccer, but I really want to learn more, experience, if nothing else, right? Go experience an ID camp for myself, get a feel for what the environment is like, get to interact with the competition, if you will, of some of the other student athletes that are attending this, so you can get an idea. It's like, okay, I'm not as advanced as I thought I was, or no, I'm a little bit more advanced than I thought I was, right? So it's a good kind of barometer check as well, and you get to make friends along the way. And then a lot of these athletes too, particularly if they're playing club soccer, they're either playing with each other on the club side, and they're at different high schools, or vice versa. They're playing against each other on the club side or high school side, right? So a lot of them know each other, especially in the regional sense. So this is, and the big thing about this though, is this isn't a one size fits all necessarily, but this is a good general basic timeline to kind of have an understanding of what the soccer calendar looks like and where I should be targeting. And the other piece though too is some people are going to have more resources. Some people are going to just have access to a lot more film, and they can be plugging this in a lot more often. So Frank, did you want to add anything to that?
I wanted to, 2 things. I wanted to circle back to the what's like too early question. In my experience, I have marketed like an 8th grader before, and it's like a 60-40% chance that it could lead to negative feedback. But we're a service, if the kid's actually doing, like if he's in 8th grade and his dream is to play college soccer, I don't think a coach would shun him away. I think he could reply, but only with like an ID camp link or a questionnaire link, and tell him just to keep him on file. Also, you said this is not a cookie cutter thing for everyone. There's more film opportunities. We were saying 3 to 6 months, but right. This was just every like 4.5 months, I guess. So if you have let's say you had like the best game of your career in the playoffs in April, you can make that a film production and update a coach that you have a relationship with. they're the people that want to see them, so this is just a broad outline and a suggestion for when people should be thinking about publishing and posting their film and sharing it with college coaches. But don't feel like I can only do 3 film productions a year.
Yeah, no, by no means. By no. Right. Now, when we're talking about these film sessions, what you'll know, and some of you are going to have access to a lot more. And we talk about it a little bit more in the newsletter, but it shouldn't be an arsenal that you're trying to build up either, right? In terms of, I'm going to just do one big video dump and do like a 10 or 12-minute long video highlight reel, because I can pretty much guarantee you that's not going to be watched beyond 3 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes. So, and we get into that more in the newsletter. So if you want to see this and a lot more great information that we're going to share, it'll be in that first edition of our newsletter. Go ahead and register and sign up for that. So anything else to add, Frank, Rafa?
Pretty straightforward for the players.
Yeah. So, and Frank has done great work on that as well. So, and kind of giving, and the whole point of that was when Frank and I were having that conversation about the calendar, right? The schedule of a student athlete that plays soccer in this country. And we started talking about it at the start of their year with maybe, when this is assuming they play club and high school, right? So gets going in August, it runs all the way through this, through the summer, June, and then some cases going into July if they're playing in their league playoffs and what have you, depending upon what league they're playing and what level they're playing in. But the thought process behind the timeline, the graphic, right, was to give somebody an actual visual of what we're talking about, rather than maybe break this down in a couple of bullet point statements. Give them a full-blown visual of how it should maybe flow at a minimum, right? This is, of course, just a basic. Some people will have access to more resources, more film. Others will have less, and they'll have to get a little bit more creative, right? So, and that is something to think about too when you're looking at a club that should be at this stage, and given what clubs in this country charge to play, that should be a question that should be getting asked. It's like, hey, do you record your games, whether it be Trace, whether it be Huddle, whether it be VO, just to name a few. Are they creating player accounts, and are they recording their games? So, Frank, did you want to follow up with any of that as far as the recording piece, the film piece?
Most clubs, in my experience, I got a lot of club film, that I would have to send over to Matt. So I would say most clubs do record nowadays, but I'm not sure exactly. Maybe like the one-man bands aren't really on it, but most like I know Classics has one. I know I've broken down some Classics Elite VO film before. I know I broke down some like Capital City Trace ID film. Right. I don't have like a in-depth. Mostly I would just screen record it and then get it over to Matt. So I don't really have any in-depth experience like filming or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. And that was a piece too, that I think that in most cases, that was one of the best things, right? One of the great blessings that came out as it relates to this, that came out of the pandemic, was it kind of, it put clubs in a position, right, where they needed to record, they needed to create some sort of film to get it out to college coaches, when college coaches were stuck in a dead period, right, in a no contact period. So yeah, so you remember that, Rafa, going back to the halfway through the pandemic?
Yeah.
That was a big thing during the pandemic for us, like especially because like the state of Texas, controversially, the state of Texas was the only people still hosting AAU tournaments and stuff like that, Yeah. So like during the pandemic, my job sort of switched from more helping Matt on the video side and like trying to get him all the stuff that he needed and organizing stuff so that we could flip it around. Normally I'm trying to do like pre-event campaigns, but now we're doing post-event campaigns during the pandemic, trying to get out club footage,
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the next thing, right, we're shifting gears here again. So the other thing that we're excited about, that we're really looking forward to, it's still in its infancy stage, we're trying to hopefully get this off the ground by the end of the summer, is the excuse me, will be our official website. And some of that, and Frank again will be at the core of that as well, in addition to the newsletter. But Frank, talk a little bit in terms from your perspective and some of the things from the website that you're looking forward to, and some of the things maybe that our listeners can expect as it relates to the website, and how the newsletter will tie into the website maybe as well.
Okay. I'm most excited just to have another content hub, for the team. Can't wait to put those Texas high school soccer podcasts on a different page. Get some more views for those. Also, we're going to take the newsletters and make them titled articles, like blog posts, on the website. That way they'll be able to find us through Google or SEO type stuff. I'm really just excited to start working on that and start pushing on it. I'm not sure how many other contemporaries we have in this podcast recruiting landscape soccer space, but I expect to kill them in SEO and Google rank and other stuff like that. So
Frank, no pressure. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We might get Rafa in there too. He might load some do a little bit of writing as well. Maybe I just told him he's not allowed to write about El Tri. He's not allowed to write about the Mexican national team, right? So that's our ongoing back and forth. They get started about 15 minutes, I think, right, Rafa? 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was actually at the game Sunday.
Yeah,
in Houston.
And it looks like Haiti looked like Haiti beat Qatar. So, or no, what was
the
that?
Honduras they tied.
No,
they tied
Honduras. 1-1. Sorry, Honduras tied
on the
Qatar,
on the last seconds.
I'm all over the place here. Yeah. So in terms of our website, no, that hasn't gone away. We're definitely still very much in its infancy stage. We wanted to make sure we get the newsletter in terms of content off the ground first. Frank's done a tremendous job, and we're excited to have him. And you'll see him pretty regularly, whether it's content, videos. We'll have him on here regularly. We're very lucky to have him part of the team, and excited for some of the many great things he's doing. And I joke with him that I forgive him for being an Aggie, right? But hey, we did have Coach G on, right? So Coach Guerreri. So we can look past that, right? Because he's a great guy. So. All right. Before we start wrapping up here, but let us tell you about our good friends at Global Scarves. Global Scarves is the top provider of custom knitted scarves, beanies, and other fan merchandise in the U.S. All merch is fully custom with free design services and free shipping on all orders. You can get more information by contacting them at info@globalscarves, as Rafa holds it up there. Nice. I like that. You can get more information by contacting them at info@globalscarves.com. Again, that's info@globalscarves.com. You can get any free designs and quotes built up for your school, club, or even if you want to do some personal ones, right? Personal ones with a personal saying, a motto, a picture of your own face. I don't know, whatever. They do it all. They can do it all, right? So, and you use the code #5050pod, or just let them know, hey, the 5050 podcast, send us, drop our name. They'll be sure to take care of you and give you great prices. So Rafa, thanks again. I didn't know you'd still have it there, man. Still,
actually, I got some news. Are the FTC for supporter group? We are using Global Scarves as our manufacturer for our new scarves, which will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
So we're taking pre-orders. So if you go to the FTC Facebook page, or you go to the tailgate on Saturday, we're going to be taking orders for the new FTC 210 scarf. So, and that's going to be done by Global.
It's already been designed and everything.
It's been designed and so forth.
Nice.
It's been good. Nice. It looks nice. So if you want one, stop by the tailgate, sign up for it, pay for it there. On like I said, we have the codes there to pay for it, and hopefully it'll be ready in about 3 weeks.
Nice. So, and for those who aren't local, who aren't in the San Antonio area, and who won't be at the San Antonio FC game, where can they go for that again? Get more information.
They're going to go to the FTC 210 Facebook page, or you can find us on also the FTC at the San Antonio on Twitter. Reach out to Matt. You can say he can take your order for the scarf. I think it's about $10 for the scarves. We're trying to get at least a minimum of 50, but you can reach out to him to order the scarves. I actually ordered 2 scarves. They look nice. We're excited about it, and so like I said, it's our official scarf with FTC and 210 alliances. We're combining together. So already got the logos up for it. We're happy about the work by Global Scarves.
Let's hook it up, Matt. we'll love to have one back here. Eventually, we're gonna have scarves going up here in the studio, but after we figure out our lighting issue here. So, but anyway, yeah, no, that's great, man. I know, and Matt's done. I know who he goes through, who he works with, and the stuff he's done. They do some great work, man. They do some. He's just his designs on shirts and different things, flags and stuff he's put together. I mean, I don't know if it rivals El Gato on the field, worthy, but it looks pretty exceptional.
It's this one when the way he designed this, it's gonna rival that. So we're I think all the members of FTC there and 210 Alliance are really happy with the design, and like I said, Global Scars did an excellent job, and we're sure for sure they're gonna build a relate them for, here on out to have our annual scars for the supporter groups.
So it's going to rival that flag back there over your left shoulder, huh? El Gato? It's going to rival that.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Awesome. So again, so as we transition here, we start wrapping up here. Stoppage time. This is where we usually go. Final thoughts, shout outs, thank yous, whatever's on your mind as it relates to the game or any content that we covered today. Frank, since you are our guest of honor today, we'll let you go first. The floor is yours, my man.
The newsletter is bi-monthly. I'm not sure if I said that earlier. There's going to be two coming out a month centered around topics in the recruiting landscape. So if you want that type of content, if you're a high school athlete that's looking for guidance or support in the process or anything like that, subscribe. It's on all of Hector's film focus tweets. I'll get a tweet up tonight. We'll get a tweet out, I think, on the 50-50 feed. That's like all 4 positions with the link as well. So, just subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter and the podcast on all video formats.
Do both. Yeah, absolutely.
Other than that, just shout out Victor Wembanyama and nothing else.
Yeah. You're getting a Wemby shout out, huh? Awesome.
I might do it every episode.
There you go. I saw today. I think today was his first practice. Yeah. I think, is that what that was? Yeah. I thought I saw that. Yeah. Great stuff. Awesome. Rafa?
Just like I said, just shout out to the guys there, like I said, with FTC and 210. And like I said, we're looking for the game for Saturday. So if you're going to head out there to Toyota, stop by the tailgate, like I said, buy a scarf, and then we'll have hopefully a show next week to cover the Birmingham game. We'll go over. Hopefully, we should have Harry back for that. And, and then looking forward for my vacation. I'll be gone from July 4th to the 26th. So some much needed rest.
Yeah, awesome. Now, are you guys going? I know you guys are going the SAFC Fancast pod right now. So you guys kind of the roundtable kind of on a little break, right, for the rest of the summer?
Yeah, but we kind of want to do a little special show, but we're just gonna leave it as that. We want to. Okay. So we want to have like a little summer summer special edition. So we're gonna kind of tease it a little bit. So that's in the works. Hopefully, so once everything's kind of finalized, we'll probably do kind of like that episode, and then we're also looking into some other things as well. Mm-hmm. But I know for the right now, like I said, we're concentrating with the fan cast, like I said, because we have season, and also we'll probably be covering some other things like Gold Cup, like what's going on with the Gold Cup. I know we have the Women's World Cup coming up pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So and then talk about also some of the transfers, from all the teams, and then looking for, especially next summer is going to be busy because we're going to have the Euro Cup, Copa America. We're excited about that. It's just a lot of soccer coverage, but we're waiting till that day, that first week in December when we can start that high school season again, and looking forward to it. See who's gonna head to Georgetown this coming 2024.
Right, it'll be here before you know it. I got what's today? Thursday? I think it was Tuesday. I got my got the new edition of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Came in the mail the other. That's when you know.
Who's on the cover?
Is it Sonny Dykes? Spike Dykes' son from TCU.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just great content, great stuff. But it'll be here. It'll be here before you know it. So, so my final thoughts here in stoppage time. couple of things really quick, and you guys kind of hit on them a little bit. But so the first one, thank you again. I've said it a couple of times, but have had a lot of friends, colleagues, people in the people in our profession just kind of reaching out, asking what's going on with me. Where am I going to be coaching still? Am I going to be returning to coaching? Where am I going to be going? Where am I going to be coaching? So the answer to all of that is yes, I will still be coaching, and hopefully an announcement on that imminent. So soon, very soon, very soon. So we'll see. But grateful to all of you who have checked in, just offered well wishes for my family, and I am grateful for all of you. And it's this can be a pretty awesome just profession that we work in, especially when you got just good people and knowing that you got other people just checking up on you or looking out for you. So thank you to many friends, colleagues, people that, professionals. Thank you for that. The other thing, stay cool, right? Try to stay fresh, try to stay out of the sun. Make sure you are getting some rest and recovery and downtime and enjoying your summer as well. I love all the clips. I love all the stuff that we're seeing on student athletes staying busy, summer workouts, getting in the weight rooms, all of that. Just make sure you take the time to enjoy the summer as well. Some time to step away from the field, step away from the weight room, even if it's just a couple of days, right? Even if it's just 2-3 days, 4 days here, or a family trip here or there, take advantage of that. And because we need those too. We need those to decompress, hit the reset button, and come back nice and fresh. So we don't have athletes that are burnt out, or athletes they've just all of a sudden one day they've completely lost why they play this game, right? We don't want that at any level. So whether it's club, high school, all right. So yes, rest, recover, stay cool, because it's a little warm out there. So keep hydrating as well. And then the last piece is the women's FIFA Women's World Cup that's coming up. Starts July 20th. That's inside of, 3 weeks now. And get out there and get out, supporting the ratings. The games are going to be at kind of all kinds of oddball hours since it's in Australia/New Zealand. But support it as much as you support the Men's World Cup, because I have a feeling we're going to be in for some high drama in this World Cup. So, but yeah, outside of that, just continue to enjoy your summers. Thank you to all our supporters, our listeners. Again, you can like, rate, subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Subscribe and sign up. It'll give you notifications. Ring that bell. It'll sign you up for notifications. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at 50_50 pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast. All of this information is literally going down at the bottom of the screen for those of you watching it on the video. But for those of you on the audio, again, those are the places where you can find us, as well as on Twitch, trying to grow that guy at 50_50 pod as well. So you can find us on all major podcast platforms as well. So thank you again to all of our supporters, all of our listeners. You, as we always say, you really are the reason why we do it, and why we do it, I should say. We're grateful for all of you. Thank you. And you know what to do. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening. You've been listening to the 50/50 podcast, powered by National Scouting Report. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 50_50 pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening.